Alright, everyone, Babylon here. Hey, today's episode 30, Mission Cluster.
ACS
Uh,
just put a contract up.
Here, you just see me just looking at agricultural here. Uh, I thought about doing that one, but couldn't find out. That's the one that's down in the forest. Later, I found that out. I was going to do it after the next one because this one here, you had to have greenhouse parts and stuff, and I went ahead and made the greenhouse stuff during this mission. So that way it already had it ready to go. And then when I started the mission to go down and do it, and come to find out it's all the way down in the forest. Uh, it would probably been a 1 hour video, maybe a 45-minute video, depending on what it was going to ask for on the as far as it goes as crops to be grown. Uh, Unfortunately, I decided not to do this one. I went ahead and did clustered instead. Now, cluster took a lot of time. I should have caught on to it as soon as it said a long-term survey, but it was another one of those 90
Got a job
minute
for you.
missions
If you
to
don't
get those
mind who you're working for.
satellites, or not satellites, but the beacons enclosed
They're looking for
in a
data.
protective
Survey info on a
issue to help speed
specific
it up.
area. I guess they
I
think
did
there's
that part,
exotics
but
down
the
there.
material I used, you'll
Which
see here in
gives
a little
you at
bit,
least
the
two good
material I
reasons
used
to
was a
take this one.
mistake. I shouldn't have used that stuff to do that. I should have went with stone or something stronger. I should, or either that or just went back to my base and got all the concrete stuff instead. But yeah, it was kind of frustrating, and it took way longer than it should have. By the time it was all done and done, it was like 3 hours into the mission to finally get it complete. So it took quite a bit of editing. There's going to be a lot of
And I
transitioning
don't
going
care who you
on to
are,
stop most
so
of it.
long as you deliver.
Uh, I
They
did have to
need
get some
data.
resources
Doesn't
to
weigh a
make the
thing, but
other stuff you'll see
getting
me
it
making.
being killer.
I
So
did
check
go
your HUD
between
and
bases. There
move
was a lot
out.
of nighttime stuff. I just
It's
set
time
at
to
night.
meet your friend down
But
here.
I went a long time without realizing that it had stopped. It was taking a lot longer for some reason. I couldn't figure out what was going on. But you'll see in a minute when you look up there after a while we'll get everything going. But first things first, we had to get over here and get the beacons and stuff out of the box down there, which we wind up doing. Uh, yeah, I just kind of wish I went about it differently. It would have probably been a lot faster, or I could have just simply transitioned enough to where it's long enough to make the other video a full hour length instead. But unfortunately, it did turn out that way, and I just wound up having too many issues uh, with the building stuff. Here we're going to go over that first one. And you'll see me build it out of a twig or thatch building pieces instead, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have done it differently. And it's almost like I think I had to repair them twice. I think go back to all of them again and repair them twice. But like I said, the biggest problem was the first time was so long. I didn't know how long it was going until I eventually noticed that it said it'll take 999 minutes for it to complete instead of the regular 90 minute. And I had to wind up uh, resolving that issue, but it took quite a bit. Now later you'll see me go back and repair them, and you can look up in that left-hand corner there where the mission's at. And you'll see the three squares when it's complete, showing each one was built, and then a storm takes place, and then I go ahead and go back up and back to the base to get other stuff done. But here we go, building that first one. And, yeah, like I said, I should have built it out of something stronger, or it would have been a lot faster video. And that's the first one here, first and four. Yeah, here we're just gonna like drop down and head over to the first one. It was the closest one. We'll be transitioning to them here, make it a little bit quicker. Uh, like I said, it was like I think it was like 3.5 hours. I think total, or just under 3.5 hours. But yeah, here we go. they're scattered kind of weird. Usually they're like makes it almost like a square. But hey, we got it done. At the end of the day, we got it done. That's the important thing. I couldn't tell at first if that was behind or front until I got that little bit closer. But I figured I'd go ahead and kill it so that way it doesn't bother with me when I'm doing this. But here we go with that second one. And like I said, if you're going to go do this one, just make sure you take some stone stuff with you. The stone I had with me, parts was what made the base in that previous. And here you go. The storm goes off right off the bat. And I didn't pay attention to the little dots you see on the side here. Here in a minute, when we get these 4 set up, it'll show just three dots down below it. And I didn't realize one that they were damaged and had to go back and refix them. And here's where I put the third one up. That first one, I looked around. I thought maybe it had like a beacon spot. That's just what I'm saying. I didn't realize which one it was. And here, the stuff kept going underground. Then I went out so far, and it was like the ground underneath it was hollow. So I had to wind up connecting it to that boulder there to keep it from going underground. So that down there immediately breaks off. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of that stuff I was not prepared for on that couple of moments there, On this, at least on this mission anyway, I wasn't quite prepared there. See how it stays above ground. So, but yeah, it was crazy. And, I spent a lot of time just hanging around the deal, like I said, getting stuff ready for the next mission. And then come to find out I can't even do that mission, but at least I got the stuff done. But I'm already back at my base, so I can get the regular stuff to go. Here, I wasn't that far away from it. But I think all I had to do was cross the river here a little ways. And that's another thing too. The first storm was like a category 2. So yeah, you definitely want something done. I think we even had a category 5 lightning storm come through and did quite a bit of damage to them. But yeah, like I said, I just was not really braced for it or prepared for it anyway. Put that away. Yeah, I thought about going ahead and doing it that way, so I just make sure it didn't go underground after the other one we just did. See how they started taking damage, and I did not realize that. I thought it was still considered covered, but and here I had to wind up fixing it so I can set that down. Yeah, I mean, you live and learn, and I don't know what happened to that piece. It just disappeared after putting it down. It's probably in that wall somewhere, that mound of dirt behind us.
The scan's finished, and the data's come through.
Yeah. Now, see, right now that's not flashing or nothing. So I just left and went back up to the base. And man, I had it written down too. Yeah, it was an hour and 8 minutes later when I realized that thing was flashing like it is right there. It started flashing like a little hazard type deal, and I didn't catch that. See how it's starting to flash there now on the left side there with the mission. That's because the thing is damaged and it's not repairing. So I had to wind up going back to each one and repairing each one for it to cut down, and I think I had to do that, repair them twice. and that was just what drug the mission out, you know. But you live and you learn. But from now on, I just got to remember when it says long term to get concrete pieces with me, because I did go back through when it was all said and done and took everything down and got rid of it. I didn't want to leave that on the map. Like I said, I'm gonna build outposts in each area, but it's going to be more centralized in each area. Except for the sand dune down below. I don't know if I want to be centralized a base right there where the sandworms are. But then again, I mean, could be there to farm, but I don't know if they'll attack it if I'm not there. You know what I mean? So, best thing is to be comfortable there. I'm just trying to plot my path up, back up to the base compared to where I'm at. Now, there's a cool spot right up there at C2 square in the corner. There's a huge cave there. I didn't go exploring it. I just know it's there because that's where I built once. Here we are back at the base, and that light's still flashing, and I never caught it. Oh my god, that was terrible. Oh, talking about kicking yourself in the behind. I mean, every while here, I also removed some stuff, carried on with what I was doing with the. Decided to start making the glass stuff for that base here in a little bit. Refill my canteen back up for the animals. Now here's where I realized what was going on. I had to go fix that stuff. There it is. And yeah, and you know, you figure after 500 hours, you would think I should have known Icarus would be that torturous. Had such a hard time lighting that one up to repair it. Had to go around and get on top so I could make sure the top was fixed. We had to go to each and every one of them like that. This is the first time here. We'll have to do it again later. But I don't think I actually showed that on the last one there. Or I did, but I think I didn't show all four. I think I showed 2 or 3 of them. We had to go back and redo. So you might want to keep that in mind when y'all are doing this mission here. If you don't want to keep going back and forth repairing stuff, I mean, it's the only way you'll be able to do it. Is use something a little bit tougher. So yeah, it's gonna be all the issues I was having trying to get that last piece fixed. And off to the next one. But you know, at the end of the day, it did work. But like I said, you had the hassles of having to constantly repair. You know, but it was still doable. It just takes a little bit of time. You really got to prepare yourself for it if you don't want to spend that much time doing it. Yeah, here she. The mower's getting over there handling the bear while sitting there goofing off.
And the data's come through.
But yeah, that was nuts. Here we are with the back to the base here. Oh, I didn't show all three of them again. And here, it wasn't too long after I did that and look, and it's already flashing again. You know, it was so aggravating. I think that was that tier 4 came through. I thought it was a tier 5. My bad. But yeah, I'm gonna have to do something about that. You know, get a kit together or something to keep with it. But it'd be nice to be a way you can actually write on the pouches that when you hand over it tells you what the pouches are for, though. But I know there's color coding, but there's only so many colors, you know. But yeah, you can see here I'm making all the glass stuff and everything for the. I was just gonna make I think it was like a 4 by or 2 by 2, uh, just a regular flat top roof out of glass, so that way we can just put like 4 planters in there and just let them go do what needed to be done for that next mission. But unfortunately, it was too far away. I thought it was going to be right up here where we were at, but since it was connected to the same bracket anyway. But that's just how aggravating Icarus can get sometimes. But still, even though you get those moments like that, it's still one of the best games you can play there altogether. I really do think that. And I'm like I said, with the DLCs, I hope the DLCs are just as good. I've seen gameplay on them. It took me a while to figure out that there was expansion packs too. I couldn't figure out. Well, I ain't got no place like that on my map. What the hell? But come to find out, it was a different map altogether for DLC and the Great Hunt, by the way. But I did watch that a little bit on the Great Hunt. I guess when you fight those bosses, I guess they're little minions that come with them, are permanently on the map afterwards. So that's pretty cool. And there, and I hit another mile marker. What do you know? You know. And if I do everything right, I'll get all those done. I don't know. I know I looked at some of those badges, man, like 5,000 trees. I'm like, eesh. The storm's been knocking them down left and right. I ought to go through there and just chop them all down. Well, I'll do that towards the end, so you can get those badges unlocked. But I think that all counts together on multiple characters. I hope they do anyway. It'll make more sense if they did it that way. But if each character has to knock down, you got like 5 characters, or how many maps are there? There's 1, there's 2, 4 different maps, and you have different characters, and each one had to get 5,000 trees, man. Stop and think about that. That's 20,000 trees, bro. I can live without that combination badge, if that's the case. But yeah, hands down, to me, it's one of the best games to play that I've found as far as when it comes to survival like this. You know, it's also a break from the zombie thing. You know, don't get me wrong, I play a lot of zombie survival games, but this right here just gives you something different other than the same old zombies and fights and carrying on, or like 7 Days Dies, Blood Moon times and stuff like that. I forget what they call No One Survives. But yeah, I mean it is refreshing. Be even more refreshing once I get the sticks and the other maps. I definitely want to have fun doing that. I just got to brace myself for that real slow pace of chopping down trees. He's not gonna have all that stuff going like this character does right off the bat. He's gonna have to chop away at some trees for a while and pick them up. I love that chopping, and the arrow goes right to your inventory, you know. But get those perks and everything set up on them and everything. And I'm going to play it on hard mode. I know I listened to some of them guys talk about playing Styx and Prometheus and all them on hard mode. It's like playing hard mode on the previous map. or playing normal on those on a previous map would be hard. So you playing on hard it'd be like, you know, should be more difficult. In other words, if I can ever say something right for a change. Here I just need those 4 pieces. I was debating on whether to use the slant pieces or just a flat top, and I decided on the flat tops, man. That way I don't have to build the extra pieces out of it, and I didn't want to have to go out and get more silica to do everything. And that's what we just transitioned through, was me going out and farming a little bit. But hands down, at the end of the day, I mean, it was simple, but the issues of having to repair the stuff and keep it repaired and keep it going. And, you know, like I said, if I would have just used stone or something else, it would have been better. I think that's where I get hit by a bear. Yeah, here he comes. Oh, shit. Okay. I don't know why I can't remember to run at them right when they get ready to lunch. That way they can, yeah. It was like everybody tried to show up for the same party all the time. So, but at the end of the day, we got it done. That's the important thing. We can move on. Agriculture will be the next one. I do not know when I'll be getting that one done. It could be Thursday or no. It'd probably be on Wednesday. But yeah, Wednesday. I plan to play it Wednesday and then post it on Friday. But I tell you, there was a whole lot to all this stuff. You had to watch through the video, make notes of where you gotta cut at, all that stuff, and put transitions in and what you want to remove and stuff. I wish there was a way I could do it where it pretty much be more like a story to it or something, but every time I think about doing something like that, I try to get a story written down, and then when I'm going through it, it just sounds like some guy's reading a book, you know. So it's not as good as some of them guys out there like Sir Winter or what's that one guy, Modest Farmer. I think he does like Farm Simulator 25, which I got that game too. I just haven't played it that much, but but I'm looking at playing that sometime, but just not anytime soon. I don't even know if you can play that multiplayer or not. That'd be pretty cool if you did. If you had like 4 buddies together working on that stuff and building a farm up, that'd be pretty cool. But I just don't know if you can get both people on the same server. But some of it gets kind of repetitious, you know. So I just try to select one guy doing it. Now there's one guy that plays all kinds of different games. What was his name? Game Edge? Or Quad Gaming. But he plays one of the games. I saw one of his videos and it got me into the game. Was Out of Ore. I've played the heck out of that, but it doesn't have like a very good economy deal. Now I heard here lately the new version does have an economy deal, so I'm kind of looking at doing some of that too for fun while I'm not playing this one here. Because trust me, I get tired of playing it. When it gets to that farming stuff, I get so caught up in that farming, all of a sudden I start to get burned out. I got to stop myself. If I just don't, I'm going to wind up quit playing a game for about a month, maybe 2 months, and then come back to it. And I don't want to do that, especially since I'm making these videos. But yeah, it like I said, you just got to make sure you get something that's a little bit stronger than thatch to do this one. It'll save you a lot of hassle, a lot of time, and have fun doing it. I mean, like I said, I was prepping for everything like to do the next one. I thought, man, I was going to knock these out, and then turn around, all that stuff started happening with the beacons not getting covered and all that, and causing issues. Kind of changed my mind on that little excavate there, you know. But like I said, we got it done, got it knocked out. We can move on to the next one. I do know I looked at one of them for fun. In fact, I think it's the one after the next one. And I think it was asking for, what was it asking for? 400 glass, 300 concrete, 60,000
Well,
biofuel, and
friend,
50,000
you done down there?
oxygen. So that's going to be a fast one because I
Sure
already got all that
looks
stuff
like it from
made. I
here.
was not going to try to set up and try to build all that
You know,
in that area where the pods were. So I thought it was going to be quick and easy. I was going to make a quick, easy video out of it. And I was like, holy crap. Saw that. And I was like, yeah, that's going to take some time. So. But then I remember too that I wasn't supposed to be jumping lines like that. I was trying to do everything in order, so I kind of punished myself there for doing that. Yeah, so we finished it here. This is when I checked it out and realized it was all the way down on the
the
bottom down there.
ACS have big plans for
But
Icarus.
listen, I appreciate y'all
And you're
watching.
part of
Like,
them.
subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me what you want to see. And like I said, if you subscribe, thank you for subscribing. If not, hey, you're still welcome to come back and watch the videos if you're liking them. So, hey, y'all have a good one, and y'all peace, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.
The ACS might be loud, weird, and paranoid, but they got the tech and the cash to do whatever they want.